Good afternoon, class. So today is 25th of February, and we will have to cover the important current affairs of today. And the first news is related to the vaccine for seniors and 45 plus with comorbidities for March. So government have moved forward. 10,000 government facilities has been indicated, and 40,000 has been rolled in from the private sector. Government have said that there will be some charges that will be needed to be provided by the individual person who want to basically get himself enrolled for the vaccination, and there will be other person who will be getting free vaccines. So we still do not know who are the other person, but the people who are above the age of 60 will be getting the vaccine, that is for sure. Now 18,000 workers have gotten vaccinated in the capital region. There is new strain that is currently developing in the region of South Africa, and some of its effects have also seen in the state of Maharashtra, Kerala, and I think one is Chhattisgarh or some, if I remember correctly, one is another also Rajasthan. So these are some of the happenings that are with respect to the coronavirus currently going on. I hope you remember all of them. I'm not going to go into detail. The next one is that disengagement is a win-win situation. Now there is another article that is related to it. This is a statement that is given by Army Chief General Manoj Narvani, and he have said that although it is a win-win situation for both the country, and the strategy that India have adopted has benefited both the countries in aspiring for a long peace, and small incursions that are happening currently won't work. That has made clear by the Indian agencies and the Indian army officials that if China keeps on doing it, India will push back harder. The next one is the trust deficit has been developing between the two nations. So therefore, it is China who have to come forward and they have to do something so that the trust could be built better. Then there is another question that was posed to him that you have left out the Kailash range. What is the objective of leaving out the Kailash range? So he says that there are technical leverages that we have certainly gotten in the case of negotiation, but right now the government have decided that this can be done. So the ensuring of the peace could be happening in the longer run. And the next one is the focus have slightly changed from the western border to the northern border, and I think that is a type of a good thing that we currently are seeing. Okay, further moving on, the next news is related to universal health scheme to be launched in Rajasthan. So universal health scheme will be launched in Rajasthan. 5 lakh insurance and 35,100 crore will be allocated. The budget has been presented with the 4% of GSTP. They have accused the central government of not releasing the fund that were actually needed to be provided to the state government, and therefore the revenue deficit and the fiscal deficit is looking higher as the central government will release the funds that are needed to be provided for the state government. The fiscal deficit and the revenue deficit will certainly look smaller, and this is what Mr. Gehlot have said. He have focused on health, he have focused on on agriculture. These are the two major things. A welfare scheme has also been started, so these are some of the program that has been started in the state of Rajasthan. Okay, further moving on, the next news is related to bail as a right. Now after 6 months there was this one person called as Varavara Rao, and he was accused in the Bhima Koregaon case, and he have been released on the basis of bail. Now there are no stringent provisions, or you can say the provisions that were actually inflicted on Mr. Varavara Rao were very stringent in nature because he has been booked under UAPA. When we talk about the issues with respect to the bail, most of the time the court have given or will be giving the bail as a right and jail as exception, but in this particular case as the stringent provisions were put in, so court have extended the jail for 6 months, and there were also issues of National Human Rights Commission which said that he is not being allowed to have water because he is not able to drink water from the glass, so he asked for a straw. They were all controversies that are currently going on, but court looked at from the point of view of Article 21, which provided for right to life, and they have justified that even if you have done something, you cannot charge any person on any objections. And recently the case has also been made weak because there have been certain accusation that there was a bug that was planted in certain persons or influential person computers who have or will be charged under the malware induced evidence that is currently available and is coming forward. So independent agencies are basically asking about it, in which there were folders that were created and have suggested that the laptop of Varavara Rao may not have been in his or her control. So these are some of the things that they have talked about. The next one is the scientific disinterest. So minister and public figures must not be seen as endorsing drugs whose efficacy in doubt. So this is a case with respect to the coronil in which Harshvardhan have gone and he have launched the product. This has been criticized by the Medical Commission of India, which is accusing the minister that he is basically boosting the use of the coronil that is developed by Ramdev without any efficacy or without any test results that are available to us. And the drug suppliers of the vaccines who are available in the market, they have got enough evidence, but still there are various doubts that are being casted on them. Now, although Mr. Harshvardhan have not said anything in the event that it is effective or not, but Mr. Ramdev have blabbered and have gone on claiming that its vaccine is approved by WHO. However, WHO has not provided any of its vaccine, although it may provide certain relief against the immunity or certain relief against any of the diseases that may be helping or increasing over time, but that does not mean that this will definitely help in the elimination of the corona, and there are no certain evidences that are available on the ground. So that's why this particular part has been asked, and we will have to wait and see. But from the suggestion of the article, it has been said to Mr. Harshvardhan that the political figures or the prominent persons who are available at the position of the power and are or can be influencing other people, they should not use such kind of things with other. So I hope this is clear. The next one is the vaccine reluctance and political hesitancy. So I hope you remember, apart from vaccinating the elderly soon, the delaying the second dose of the vaccine will also open another Pandora box then that needed to be contained, that needed to be provided. We have seen vaccine hesitancy is a problem. Now for the solution of the vaccine hesitancy, there are 2 or 3 basic problems. The prominent person should come forward, the government should appeal to the people, run an information campaign, and then we could make it compulsory for certain section of government servants who are under, because there are certain sections, if everybody start doing it voluntarily, so there are certain section of the people who are coming in direct contact with the people every day. So these people could be asked to basically set an example, and they could be motivated by the higher authority or the higher officers to basically administer to themselves the vaccine, so that the confidence of the lower people or the people who are outskirts of any of the government influence could increase the efficiency, the trust, and effectiveness of the particular vaccine. I hope this is clear. The next article is the structural fragility of the union territories. Now this is a very important article. Please make note of this. Now please understand, the union territory of Puducherry, there was a fall of the government because the Congress government lost majority over there, and there were a lot of people who have resigned from their posts who were earlier supporting the Congress government. They have resigned from the legislature over there, not parliament. They have resigned from the legislature, and therefore the government in the Puducherry have fallen. Now when we talk about Article 190, it deals with the resignation of the members, whether it is voluntary and genuine, and the anti-defection law is mentioned under Article 101 Part 2. Now these are the 2 articles that are at question. Now when we talk about resignation, the resignation can be given by any of the member of the legislature who is sitting over there. Now he could directly submit the resignation to the speaker. Now it is for the speaker to ensure basically that whether under his discretion or under his judgment, the resignation that is being given is completely fair, square, and without any coercion or without any pressure. That is the thing that speaker has to ensure. Now speaker have given a time of 3 months to ensure that. And there is also various things that are the resignation, whether it is subversion of the law, whether legislatures needed to be saved. These are some of the things that we talk about. When we talk about the legislators, these are just reflecting the mood of the people, and the people who have actually elected them, they have elected them on the party basis. If they are losing the party, I think the mandate needed to be seeked afresh. So if they again want to be minister, they have to again get themselves elected from the same constituencies, so that the better results could be achieved. Now, when we talk about in the case of union territories, what are the powers of union territories? Are they independent or not? In the case of union territory, all the provisions are mentioned under Article 239, which looked at the composition of the legislature that is provided in the constitution. If you see Article 239A, it says the parliament by law could create a legislature in the union territories. The Article 339A Part 1 contain parliament by law could create. The second, part 2, contain the legislature is a body that is elected, partly nominated or partly elected. And the third is there should be a council of minister with the legislature or without the legislature. Now we have questioned the basic premise of Article 239, in which it has been said that the parliament is authorized to create a council of minister with or without legislature. Now what is the purpose of having ministers without the legislature? Because legislature is the body to which they are accountable. If you are creating minister and legislature is not there, to whom they will be accountable? On the contrast, there is another possibility that if legislature could be partly nominated or partly elected, let's say if it is fully nominated or fully or partly nominated, what is the meaning of the people who are getting elected? So here basically questioned the premise of Article 239A, in which the official position or the official control of any of the union territory remain in the hand of the people. However, the basic premise has been given by the central government that they want to ensure or give representation to the people who are living in the union territories, but do not give away all the control that is related to the administration of the union territory. Now, in that particular case, the territory of Delhi is a unique case. We will talk about Delhi. There was a case that is basically, I think, happened in 2017, if I remember. In the case of Puducherry, first of all, let's say there are 33 members, 3 are nominated by the central government. So central government, when we say, they are nominated by the President of India, and BJP could nominate without consultation of the any of the members, and this could be challenged in the court or cannot be challenged in the court because the president is completely free. Now, in this particular part, the Supreme Court have said the union government is free to give its own discretion with respect to the election of the people to whom they have wanted to be nominated to the legislature of the union territories. When we talk about this particular issue, you should remember that in the case of Rajya Sabha, there is also a discretion that is given to the president for the election of the 12 members. But these members have some qualification, have some prerequisites that are needed to be defined, that they should be coming from the expertise of any of the 4 fields. So these 4 fields are mentioned in the constitution. Please read this. Which are the 4 qualifications that are mentioned under the constitution for the nomination of the people to the parliament? Now, this qualification is nowhere mentioned in the form of legislature. It simply says that the government can select a body that is partly elected and partly nominated. Now, when we talk about Article 239A, it gives a chance of arbitrariness, and law provide arbitrariness that there should be union territory, and SC did not take a broad view in giving representation to the common people. So they have only taken a narrow view in which only the meaning of the law has been discussed. Now, when we talk about the administrative power, there was a case in the NCT of Delhi versus Union of India in which it has been said that administrators should not frustrate the functioning of the elected government and you should use it as a last resort. But in the case of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, the lieutenant governors have been given the overriding power with respect to the ministers who are actually elected over there, and that is type of a diarchy that is existing in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Ladakh is just a union territory controlled by the lieutenant governor, but when it comes to the Jammu and Kashmir, they have elected legislature. But in the case of legislature and the lieutenant governor, the power of lieutenant governor is superior as compared to the power of the state government. Now, when we talk about non-cooperative federalism, this is one of the practices that is currently going on. Administrators should not be exercising all the power that they had at their forefront. Whenever there is an elected government or the elected legislature in place, the elected legislature should be given away so that they can control the issues and the things with respect to the administration, law and order, and other situations. When we talk about administrative power, union territories are not fully democratic, as we have seen. The right to disagreeing with the Council of Ministers should be there. But we have seen in the case of lieutenant governor, the one power they enjoy the most is they can directly transfer any of the suggestion or any of the bill that is forwarded to them by the Council of Ministers or the Chief Minister of that particular union territory directly to the center. Now that have created a problem because now the central government is not accountable to any of the people at the state or at the union territory level, and they can take their decision on their own without any delay, and no accountability of the president is fixed. Of course, the president have to take the decision on the basis of the advice of the Council of Ministers. So these are some of the things that are needed to be balanced. On one hand, there is elected government that is working for the welfare of the people. On another hand, we have a control of administrator, that is a centralizing authority, basically making all the union territories to fall in line with respect to the center agenda and point. Then we have other rules, for example, anti-defection law. So I think there will be another article related to anti-defection law that will be coming in 1 or 2 days. Probably we will see one article regarding that. Okay, the next one is the federalism and the Indian human capital. Now, what is the relation with federalism and the Indian human capital? The federalism is basically the relation, you can say, between the center and the state. What are their powers? What are their sphere? So this particular person have written, Anup Singh have written, and Kandara Patel have written very good article. You should please make note of it. Now, when we talk about invest in or the human capital of India, there are three things that are needed to be understood. The human capital can only fulfill if we have nutrition, health, and education. When we talk about the World Bank Human Capital Index, India have scored very badly at 116th rank, and the National Family Health Survey 5 have already indicated that the malnutrition is on the rise, and definitely the people are going to suffer more stunting and more wasting issues. That is under the age of 5. There is another issue that is related to the ASER. ASER have said that during or before the pre-COVID era, already enough inequalities have existed in the education between the in, in intergender and intragender, between the inter-region and intra-region. So these are some of the things that have existed and the inequalities have existed. Now they have suggested that with the outcome of the COVID, they are going to be aggravated because a lot of people will be going out of the, and the effect on the gender will be more as compared to the man, because men have seen it in a way that they have got extra hours and extra thing to basically work upon, but women have seen more out of school policies, or they are most likely to get pushed out of school more frequently as compared to men. Now, when we talk about National Health Policy 2017, it highlighted the intervention that are needed to be implemented in the school for addressing the malnutrition, and for that Poshan Abhiyan has been launched. There is Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan education, under which the Poshan Abhiyan has been launched. When we talk about the total expenditure of the GDP on the human capital, that is 1% in the case of health and 3% in the case of education is the total we are spending. So in totality, we are spending 4%. The Anup Singh have suggested that this particular expenditure needed to be increased up to 6%. When we talk about the similar outcomes in the other countries, or the spending in the other countries, they are somewhere above than 6%, and India is not even spending half of it. When we talk about whether it is the issue of decentralization or not, so yes, it is somewhere related to decentralization, because education is a state subject and health is a state subject. Both these issues are state subjects. Although education is contained in the concurrent list, but still health is contained in the state list. So the basic argument of the government is that whenever we are taxing something at the center, almost 42% of it is going to the states. So whatever the center is going to earn, they are not going to earn. Almost 42% is going to be sent to the state government for the working and the welfare that they are doing in the human capital index. On the another part, the center should play an active role in creating major education and health or nutritional issues and catering them to it in the solving and the all the problems that they are having. And we talk about 42nd amendment, this was the one amendment that have shifted education from the state to the concurrent list. When we talk about three types of aids that are being provided from the center to the state, or the finance commission to the state, one are the fiscal transfers, the second one are the grant in aid that are provided under article 275, and the last one is the grant in aid for the public purposes. Now these are ad hoc schemes, or in simple terms we will call them central sponsored schemes, in which the conditional transfers are being provided, and they constitutes about 23% of the total transfer that the center is actually providing them. When we talk about 73rd and 74th 1993, further the education, health, sanitation and social welfare has been transferred to the panchayats, and now the states does not want to provide any type of fund, functionaries or finances to the third tier of the government, which is creating a lot of trouble at the lower level, or you can say at the panchayat or the municipality level, basically increase the resources and helping or having a particular push towards the education. So these are some of the things. When we talk about the third tier, the resources of the third tiers are very low, so they are completely dependent on the state government. we are talking about 0.2% of the GDP in the case of the third tier, that is the actual revenue that they are generating, and 3% it is in the other nation, that is pretty low. So we are almost, you can say, 15 times lesser the total amount of revenue that we are generating from the urban areas as the other countries are generating. And this is also highlighted by the election commission. The person have written, many states have not forming SFC. Finance Commission have said that if there is no state finance commission on after 5 years, then the conditional transfer that are going will not be given to the states for the welfare works, and states should focus on education, health and nutrition at all the three tier levels so that they can have a coordinated and a collaborative approach for the upliftment of the poor and increasing the human capital of India. The next one is Sukai many Terimas. So I think you can read this on your own. Myanmar general have imprisoned them. The NLD leader is currently in the position. People are on the ground. They are agitating. They are wanting freedom for their leader. They want democratic nationalism under which the government will form the government. The leaders who have been imprisoned, they will form the government and they will rule the country. But the army have taken a contrasting view. They have put all the leaders on the objection that the elections were not fair. They tried to warn Aung San Suu Kyi, but as the independent observers have seen, there were no discrepancies or no form of fraud that is being committed in the election, in which the NLD party have won approximately 85% of the total seats. Now, the army in the constitution, if we talk about the Myanmar constitution, there are two provisions that are very prominent to understand. The first provision is that 25% of the army have been reserved seat in the parliament. The second provision is that any person who is married to a foreign person or have children who are not the citizen of Myanmar, they are basically restricted from to be appointed as in any of the houses or any dignitaries that may take the constitutional post. So for an LD leader, because Aung San Suu Kyi was there was created another post called as Chancellor of the State. Sorry. So she is acting like as a de facto ruler, and now the army have imposed approximately 1 year emergency, and we will have to see what will happen over the roads. And I hope everything will work out. India have already supported that the rule of the democracy should exist, the people should be working, and healthy democracy and freedom of the people is always the India's position. The next one is the adultery as a biscuit. So what is adultery? All India services, basically when we talk about IAS, IPS and IFS, these are basically governed by the moral code of conduct. Now similar type of moral code of conduct is being provided under the army, under Army Act, but under Article 33 of the provision, the Army Act can be restricted from enjoying all of the fundamental rights as they are available to the Indian citizen. In that particular background, you should understand that there was a case of Section 497 of the IPC that have made IPC adultery not a cognizable offense, because both people were objecting to it. The women are objecting because in the particular Section 497, you have treated women as a property, as if she is not capable enough to take her own decision, because the Article 497 has been contained in such a way that if a husband of a particular woman finds her woman sexually engaged with other person without the consent of the husband, then that amounts to adultery. Now the women were objecting that who is the husband to actually basically give them what she want to do, and the other people were objecting that if it is adultery, why the case can only be filed against the man and not against the woman. So in that particular case, a lot of discretion has been provided when we talk about case of army. So they have said that this should not be applied to the army. Now in the army, when we talk about, there are no penal provision right now that are existing outside of the army, because Section 497 has been basically done away by the Supreme Court of India. But in the army, there are certain provisions which say a moral conduct or anything that is in becoming contact. Now there are certain cases over the years in which certain policemen who have been living with some other woman, I am not going to reading all the cases, you can read them your own if you want to quote, but I don't think there is any need to quote these particular cases. So Supreme Court have taken a view that even if these persons are committed in the adultery, there is no bearing of that particular person living with another woman or even engaging in adultery on the job that he is currently committing. So therefore they have, because the Supreme Court have taken a decision that if it is adultery and the persons are not satisfied, then it's completely the end of the marriage. We should not decide what is happening in the bedroom and what the people are doing with one another, or the preferences that they have in the sexual intercourses. The two people engage their relations in an independent manner, and we should not directly interfere in them. But in the case of army, the army has suggested that a particular type of a barrier needed to be provided, and this particular provision should not be applied to the army. And the justification that they have given is that the army people stay away from their families for a longer period of time, and if there is any form of adultery that is being encouraged in any form or not punished in any form, then there may be a lot of indiscipline and the people will not be happy, and there may be a lot of frustration among the army persons who are working at the border. So we are suggesting you to please remove this particular provision, and it shall not be made applicable to the army personnel. So I hope this is clear. Okay, the next news is related to winter pollution on the rise. This is a report by the Center of Science. They have said the smaller cities are taking a uprise, and it may be getting worsened in 43 out of the 99 city. Only one city have shown a substantial increase, that is the city of Chennai. In the case of winter, the other cities are more problematic to live because the calm traps and the vehicular pollution is always increasing. When we talk about PM 2.5 concentration, that is the major thing that is killing the people. We have already seen almost one third of the people that are getting killed worldwide because of the pollution. Almost one third of that are getting killed in the NCT of Delhi. So that is a huge number. Now, when we talk about the world scenario, almost 23 of the world most polluted cities are existing in India, and we need to basically prevent this particular thing. Okay, next one is the India takes on Pak at Human Rights Council. So Al-Qaeda terrorist Ahmad Omar Saeed has been released. So both were leading accusation on one another with respect to the human rights conflict in the Kashmir and with respect to the various things that Pakistan has been doing to its minorities. So India highlighted those. So that's how we were fighting on this particular part. Okay. The next one is the proposed bilateral Green Deal to US. Now, what is a Green Deal and Green New Deal? Green New Deal is a deal that is started by the European Union, in which they have said that they will become net zero emission by 2050. I hope you remember China have also made the similar commitment. Japan have also made the similar commitment. China have made it for the year 2016. Japan have made it for the year 2050. Now, when we talk about net zero emission, that means the emissions that are created and the emissions that are absorbed by a particular country are equivalent, and there is no fluctuations in or no variations in the generation of emissions and the absorption of emissions. So we have, or this particular person have said that we should push for Green Hydrogen Alliance, and the concrete targets and alliances should be set up. When we talk about COP26, that is the Conference of Party 26 that is currently working under the United Nations Environment Program, they have said that we must include the hydrogen as an alternative source of fuel wherever we can use it. Now, hydropower is also there, but the hydropower is posing major dangers to the local conditions and the fragility that is currently existing in those neighboring areas. We have recently seen the case of the Chamoli. So it does not give us a sense that all the hydro projects needed to be questioned, but still there is a deeper study that is needed to be undertaken, that if the construction of the such dams are creating havoc or creating trouble for the local environment and also to the life of the people who are living downhools, and the cost that involve the infrastructure and the investment that is being created. On the other hand, the prices of the solar energy is decreasing. So the purchasing power agreement that is between the power companies or the producers and the distributors, that is a huge gap between these particular obligations that the producer companies have to be basically providing to the distribution company had to basically provide to the producer companies. So there's a mismatch between them. Now the solar power is decreasing. So in the solar power, he certainly have said that solar power still not have reached the inflection point. So we will have to further see what are the financial, technological and the new markets that are existing. Inflection point means we have reached certain point under which the prices will not fall. So he certainly did not believe that. He says that there is still financial, technological and new markets that are going to increase, and therefore the cost of the solar will decrease further. Okay, further moving on. The next one, the US will seek to join UNHRC. So this is said by Blinken. 2018 they have exited from it. Now they will be rejoining, and they have seek the support from all the UN members to let them join on this particular path and helping them to basically be the part of United Nations human rights once again. Park announces 50 million defense credit line for Sri Lanka. So defense dialogue, security and cooperation were happening. Recently, this particular talk between the two nations, or this is the first major visit of Imran Khan as a prime minister to other areas, and that's why they are talking about. Next one is the Japan-US treaty, a product of Cold War. China have accused that the treaty that they have signed among the Cold War and the South China Sea, in which there is a dispute between Japan and China for the Senkaku Island, which the Japan have occupied in the South China Sea, and China claims that they are their uh, island and they have occupied illegally by Japan. So there is a dispute that is currently going on around the Senkaku Island. Now, Japan-US treaty that is to protect each other. That is a Cold War treaty that was primarily targeted against Russia, and now they are being using, or this particular treaty is being used against China. So this is what they have said. The next one is the Ghana, first country to receive co-vaccines. So they have thanked India. The next one is the cabinet approved PLI for pharmaceutical, IT and hardware. So pharma and the IT hardware is the another agency. 50,000 crore has been provided. Please remember, the production linked initiative is basically for the incremental sales. Now in the next year, they are hoping 2.94 lakh crore will be available in the 6 years, and exports will be for 1.94 lakh crore in the next 6 years. So 20,000 to 80,000 will be the direct and indirect jobs that will be created, and they will be used to basically for all the monetizations and things that are needed. The next one is the monetize or modernize is the Modi's mantra for government. Modi have given clear signal to public to private platforms or to the market. They have said to the investors that this is not a one-time annual disinvestment that the government is currently doing. Government is taking it as a long-term agenda, and they are disinvesting this particular because government do not want to be engaged. When the private companies will come, they will bring in the expertise, the strategic policy. The government officials are scared basically for the privatization that is needed to be done earlier because of the exact valuations they are not able to do. So later there may be other agencies who will actually come after or will come to haunt them that you have not able to realize, and this is a wastage of the public money. So they have just sat on the file and they have not made any progress with respect to the privatization. Now Mr. Modi have assured them you should go ahead with this and take a risk. The government have no business to stay or to waste public money in one way or another. So that's what they have suggested. It will increase the revenue flow and help the government to help the poor. Government have already declared 4 sectors that will be used or as a part of the strategic and as a part of a distinction between the strategic and the non-strategic sector. So I think that is also clear. So I think that is it for today.